This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number
jetzt.
427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment.
Gut, das hatten wir ja alles schon. Damit. Willkommen zurück, Trophäe erhalten. Damit herzlich willkommen zurück zu einer weiteren Folge von Stanley Parable. Ach Mensch, ich habe eben das Intro so schön gequatscht. Und das Headset war einfach aus. Hey!
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Hallo! So. Was wollen wir denn heute machen? Wir könnten sagen, dass wir die Mind-Control-Maschine einfach wieder anmachen. Hallo. So.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Okay, ich gehe nach links.
Yet there was not a single person here either.
Bla 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 bla
Feeling
bla.
a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Fängt er jetzt wieder von vorne an? Wir hatten doch das eigentlich schon alles durchgespielt.
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here. It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA. Are you really still in the broom closet? Standing around doing nothing?
Ja.
Why? Please offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused.
Das hattest du alles schon mal gesagt. Aber das ist, finde ich, jetzt ein bisschen
realize there's no choice or anything in here, right? If I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. But it didn't even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever. I never would have thought to mention it.
Tja.
Maybe to you this is somehow its own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friends you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending was my favorite." I hope your friends find this concerning.
Okay, er spricht ein bisschen anders als letztes Mal.
Stanley was fat and ugly and really, really stupid. He probably only got the job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he is. That or with drug money. Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Hey. Was sind das hier für Aussprüche?
Well, I've come to a very definite conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead. You got to this broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to leave because there's nothing here, when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system and you collapsed in front of your screen. Well, in a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of before it begins to decompose. Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead. They have fallen prey to any number of your countless human physiological vulnerabilities. It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your species. Please remove their corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their place, making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming, so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is not lost on them. All right. When you've done that, just step out into the hallway.
Aber ich bin so gespannt, was du noch sagst. Was erzählst du jetzt? Warum macht das, wenn ich auf X drücke, muss dieses komische Geräusch, als würde ich auf eine Tastatur drücken? Hört ihr das? Ich schreibe meine Memoiren. Du kannst nicht springen. Oh! Warum eigentlich nicht? Ich habe jetzt 1000-mal X gedrückt.
Second player. It's good to have you on board. I guarantee you can't do any worse than the person who came before you. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
So, wir haben ja mehrere Möglichkeiten, oder? Wartet mal. Nee. Doch, wir kommen hier lang.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music.
Okay. Ach Mann.
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Hey. Okay, so Leute. Dann haben wir das hier. Den Fahrstuhl hatten wir ja auch schon. So. Aber ich glaube...
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word Escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Okay.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Ich will aber wissen, was hier
At
am
this
Ende
point,
ist.
Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Ja, jetzt bin ich ja erst recht gespannt. Ah! Ich bin nicht tot. Oder?
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Kann man das Ding irgendwie ausstellen? Tschüss. Oh.
Farewell, Stanley. cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Hä? Es kommt unerwartet.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Landschaftsgemälde. Stanleys Computer. Büro-Grundriss. Ui. Aha. Okay. Der Gang. Es war wichtig, das Spieltempo in diesen ersten Abschnitt richtig einzustellen. Diese Korridor wurde verschoben und verändert, um sicherzustellen, dass der Spieler die beiden Türen in einer guten Zeit erreicht. Okay. Die zwei Türen. Die zwei offenen Türen waren der erste konkrete Teil des Stanley Parable Designs. Als dieser Raum erstellt worden war, entwickelte sich der Rest des Spiels als eine Erweiterung davon, eine Erkundung des Widerspruchs, den dieser Raum darstellte. Okay. Voll das Museum hier. Das Büro. Knopfgeräusche. Okay. Aktenschränke. Wow. Verschiedene Bürocomputer. Oh, die kann ich alle auch machen. Alle ruhig. Ach, guck mal, hier sind die Credits einfach aufgereiht. Was haben wir hier? Wartungsraum. Eine erste Version des Wartungsraums. Okay. Schlachtfeld? Schon früh in der Entwicklung haben wir ein Ende entworfen, bei dem Stanley auf ein Schlachtfeld landet und gegen Aliens kämpft. Das Actionspiel sollte empfindungsfähig werden und Krieg gegen den Erzähler führen. Kurz nachdem wir mit der Entwicklung begonnen hatten, merkten wir, dass das viel zu witzig und zu kurz gedacht war für den Charakter des Spiels. Außerdem wurde es von manchen Leuten so interpretiert, dass das Spiel sich über Leute lustig macht, die Ego-Shooter mögen, was nicht unsere Absicht war. Ah, okay. I have burning questions. Erzähler-E-Mails. Okay, das ist echt die Lounge. Noch mehr vom Büro. Okay. Der Wohnungstimer. Wohnungstimer? In einer früheren Version der Entscheidung, die zum Apartmentende geführt hat, hat ein Timer eine 5 Sekunden Zeit gegeben, um ans Telefon zu gehen. Wenn man nicht ans Telefon gegangen ist, hat das zu einem anderen Ende geführt. Okay. Der Lastenaufzug. Ich glaube, beim Lastenaufzug können wir auch noch was machen. Wartet mal. Ah. Standing. Das Standing durchlief viele Anpassungen. Dieser Raum zeigte die 4. Version des Endes und wir dachten, es sei vollständig, beschlossen aber kurz vor der Veröffentlichung es zu verwerfen. Okay. Hier, Standing. Okay. Standing Hebel. Aha. Überwachungsraumaufzug. Ah ja. Freiheitsende. Spannend ist das denn? Okay. Das ist ja riesig hier. Countdown-Schreibtisch. Aus einer ersten Version des Countdown-Endes. Okay. Das Chefbüro. Ah.
And finally, he pushed the number 9. Oh, for crying... Is this that other building? And finally, he pushed the number 9.
Aha.
Then he pushed the number 8. Then he pushed the number 4. Now then, this elevator for sure will get him right back on track to where he was supposed to be in the story. Let's see. Stanley walked. Where were all of his co-workers?
Okay.
Oh, I don't know. How about that?
Okay.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How
Okay.
they both wish to be free.
Was passiert jetzt?
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No,
Aha.
perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Turn off your PlayStation. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let...
Aber ich nehme doch gerade auf. Ich kann doch die PlayStation nicht ausmachen. Und jetzt? Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
guck mal, jetzt ist die Eingabe hier wieder von vorne, oder? Jetzt. Input. Da ist sie wieder. New Content.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Gute Frage. Hallo.
Hello, and thank you for playing The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, The Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers.
Okay.
After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over.
Yeah.
Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in The Stanley Parable
Sorry.
Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content. Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
Yeah.
Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, here we go. All right,
yeah.
Finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
Ja! Neuer Content. Was passiert?
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if them... Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Gimme the content, Stanley. All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
Ich kann springen. Und hier kann ich nicht springen. Oh. Oh. Aber das ist ja nicht springen. Das ist nur X drücken. Und ich krieche. Hui! Wartet mal. Ich kann nur hier springen. Das ist eigentlich euer Ernst. Nur hier. Neun, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hui! Toll. Und jetzt? Ausgespringt.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
Oder? Müsste noch was geben. Okay, wollen wir mal hier hinten gucken. Oh, komm.
Goodness, another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And if... Oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
Thank you for
That's
enjoying
it?
the new gun.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's trophies, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test trophy, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable.
Oder?
It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Juhu! Oh, das sieht jetzt aber anders aus. Hallo! Hm? Was hat der Erzähler gemacht? Das wird eigentlich so aussehen, ne? Hä?
Psst! Stanley! Come over here! In the vent! I want to show you something!
Okay. Was jetzt?
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
Okay. Wo bin ich? Hallo.
I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
Okay.
You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap PlayStation port? Remember back in October of 2013, when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Okay, das sieht irgendwie ein bisschen komisch aus. Audience Award. Okay. Good times. $1. Das gab's auch als Demo. Was? Don't play for 5 years. Go outside. Okay. Es gibt also eine Errungenschaft, wenn man das nicht mehr spielt. Work in progress. Beta. New video game releasing today. Okay. Guck mal, da oben steht das Piano.
Je suis dans la mémorisation, c'est sur la pluie des loups.
In loving memory, little Stanley. Oh, guck mal, ein Hamster.
C'est là, dans la mémorisation, où je me remémore les jours.
Die singen Französisch.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
Was? Person of the Year. Okay, was ist das? Aha. Und nun?
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. All they had to do was transport it in pristine condition along to the PlayStation, boom, done. And they couldn't even do that. Couldn't resist the urge to go meddling with a beloved franchise.
Ja, jetzt ist hier eine Tür aufgegangen. Aber hier sind... Ach, könnte ich doch nur springen. The Serious Room. Okay.
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here? Oh no, oh God, no, Stanley. It's a collection of reviews from Pressurized Gas, the extremely popular online storefront for computer games. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they? Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Okay. Da steht Bulldog drauf. Okay, was geht hier ab? Die Sammlung schlechter Bewertungen. Dem Erzähler gefällt es nicht. Kann ich irgendwie verstehen.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me.
Du bist nur ein bisschen
to be
ungeduldig.
honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
Oh Mann, Leute. Ich muss hier aber mal kurz Schluss machen. Wir sind ja schon fast bei 40 Minuten. Leute, wie es weitergeht, seht ihr in der nächsten Folge. Ja. Lasst einfach ein Abo da, dann werdet ihr sie auch nicht verpassen. Ja. Und dann sehen wir uns auch hoffentlich auch in der nächsten Folge wieder. Bis dahin. Ciao, ciao.